The Chicago Bears start their overhaul of the offensive line by trading for one of Ben Johnson's former guys. We're going to get into it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into it. The Chicago Bears made their first big splash of the offseason outside of their coaching staff changes, of course, by trading for offensive lineman Jonah Jackson from the Los Angeles Rams in exchange for a 6th-round pick. Now, Jonah Jackson, despite being on the Rams last season, has spent most of his time with the Detroit Lions, actually, and this is a guy that Ben Johnson brings a lot of familiarity with. Now, Jonah Jackson signed a new deal last year with the Los Angeles Rams, and he's due $9 million in 2025 and $17 million in 2026. His 2026 salary is not fully guaranteed, right? So the Bears are taking on a bit of a risk. Reportedly, the Bears are taking on all the money in this deal as well. So Los Angeles Rams will chain no money of Jonah Jackson's contract. And the Bears now bring in a guy who got moved to starting center last year before he got hurt. He's been a guard for primarily for the entirety of his career. So the Bears are adding another versatile lineman that has scheme fit, that has familiarity with the head coach. And I think everything's pointing towards this being a very solid signing or acquisition by the Chicago Bears. Now, does this mean that the Bears are still going to spend big money on a center like Drew Dalman? I mean, it raises some questions there. Keep in mind, Jonah Jackson just took his first snaps at center ever in his career last year. So I would like to think, especially with the Bears' need at guard, that they're bringing him in here to be a starting guard. And, now we'll see if the Bears go out and try to get a Drew Dalman, how aggressive they are out there for other guys. Do they still go out and pursue a Mekhi Becton or Aaron Banks or somebody else like that at the guard position? But this, the acquisition, for what it's worth, is a really good acquisition to get a player like this in Jonah Jackson for a 6th-round pick. Now, of course, Jonah Jackson's his season almost ended early with an injury last season, but then he was able to make a return from that. So it is what it is there. It doesn't seem like the injury is any concern here. And if the Bears aren't worried about injury, he's 28 years old, 6'4", 315 pounds. Like I said, this is a guy that overall he fits a lot of what the Chicago Bears are looking for. You understand he was selected 75th overall in the 2020 draft as well. And you look at what he's going to be able to bring to this team. This is an immediate upgrade for the Chicago Bears. Immediate upgrade for the Chicago Bears. So, we'll see what happens with that one, man. Placed on injury reserve last year, but like I said, it doesn't seem like it's too big of a concern long-term with that injury. So I think this is really good. We got Chris in the building, says we pick up someone in free agency, then we draft McMillan with the 1st-round pick. That way we can let Keenan walk and gives us more cap space. We're letting Keenan walk regardless. That's not even a question. Letting Keenan walk is not a question anymore. We're not drafting McMillan with the 1st-round pick. That's not what we're doing here. Come on, bro. Come on, man. What you smoking, bro? Jonah Jackson is an average guard who will most likely be a depth piece considering how injured the offensive linemen get through the season. He's probably better off the bench players in the NFL. Hey, that's a good point there as well. The T-shirt go ham, my boy. Hey, listen, this is one of my favorite Bears shirts. I think this is probably only like my 3rd time ever wearing this shirt because it just be hanging up. I'm like, if anything happens to this shirt, I'd be pissed. Has anyone ever said in this chat, Chi-Town down, Bear up? I'm not even trying to be silly. I'm just wondering. Nobody had the nerve to say no stupid shit like that, my boy. You guys do a great job. Keep it up, Bear down. Appreciate you, Tonic. We appreciate you coming through. For him to have had a bad season, he doesn't give up sacks. Hey, listen, like I said, I don't think that I wouldn't categorize it as a bad season, so to say. Like he got injured, right? And he moved positions last year as well. So I wouldn't necessarily call it a bad season, in my opinion. I think when you move from guard and you take your very first snaps at center, right, and become the starting center, I won't label that a bad center. It's a huge role change. He had a major injury. He was on injury reserve for a little while. So just personally, I wouldn't label that as quote unquote a bad season. And I think this is a really solid trade for the Chicago Bears. I think Donovan Banks, and if there's a chance, Ronnie Staley, which I doubt, or we get Will Campbell in the draft, we're good. We're good. Listen, Josh, I said it before, right? The Bears have a great chance to get everything they need, everything that they need. In this draft. So, I mean, in this offseason. So I think it's really good. You look at last year, he played 266 offensive snaps. That's on the low end for him, right? Because again, he had that injury. Over the course of his career, he's averaged about 700 snaps over his career, a little bit more than that in most seasons. So this is a guy that he's typically durable. You don't have to typically worry about his durability. That's not something you necessarily look at there and worry about him. So I think there's a really good chance the Bears got a good guy, a good pick here, right? Sweetness, yeah, absolutely. Come on, y'all already know. It's just the start. We need Mad Lime. Yeah, look, this is just the start. And to your point, this is and if this is just the start, this is a really good damn start. I'm telling y'all right now, this is a really good damn start. If this is just the start of you correcting your offensive line, you're off to a hell of a start. What about Ricky Stromberg at center? I don't think Stromberg is ready to be a starter. He's going to get some center minutes, some center snaps, but I don't think he's ready to start. Will Campbell will most likely be a guard at the NFL. I hear, you hear back and forth on that. I think he's strong enough to play tackle. I think he has the technique to play tackle. The main reason people say that Will Campbell will play guard at the NFL level is because of the wingspan. But we've seen, it's not like we haven't seen short players with shorter than typical wingspans play tackle. It just depends on how well he has the skill, right? We signed him off Commander Squad. Yeah, I know. We know who Stromberg is, brother. We've covered him. Pro Bowler with Ben Johnson. Too low risk reward to me. Okay. I mean, listen, I don't agree, but hey, you're very well to have your opinion. Left tackle Ronnie Staley would be a huge upgrade in pass, but huge upgrade. Absolutely. Ronnie Staley is one of the guys I mentioned as far as guys that I would love to see come here to the Chicago Bears. He was a Pro Bowler with Ben when he was on the lines in 2021. Agreed. Haize, I've been hearing that they may take Genty with the 10th pick. If they actually want that, I'm hoping we get offensive line figured out. Oh yeah, listen, it won't be completely figured out because keep in mind, and I know I don't say this to sound condescending. You got to keep in mind there were 2 offensive linemen with first round grades by draft experts, right? So the Bears are going to address the offensive line heavily in free agency, but the offensive linemen that they can get in the second round are just about as good as anybody you can get in the first round projected for their careers. So you're still going to see them that's why you hear that the Bears may take a defensive end or a running back in the first round because of the quality there that's still there in the second round. Now, I will say this. Armand Mimbao, the guy that I would love to see the Bears draft in the first round on that offensive line, his draft stock is going up and up and up after the draft combine, which rightfully so. That's why I had him pegged on my board. But, we'll see what continues to get there. Good trade, better than what we had beside Darnell. Right, facts. Absolutely agree with you on that one. I also think they want to shore up this O-line because they think they want Genty. He's a game changer at running back. Listen. We'll see what happens with Genty at running back. I think you can get some damn good running backs all throughout this draft. This is a running back, really good quality running back draft. But listen, I always say it this way. If you view Genty, and I mean the front office, not us fans, if they look at Genty and they say, this is a game changer for our offense, you do yourself a disservice to not go out and get that guy, right? So if we can get Dahlman draft Will Campbell and Jackson from Ohio State, you're not getting both Will Campbell and Jackson. You're not getting both of them. Come on. I get the fantasy booking, but you're not getting both of those guys, right? You really think the Bears need a running back upgrade, or are you down on Roschon? I think this, and I've said this many times. You can't bet on Roschon to be healthy. I think Roschon has tremendous potential. I think Roschon has at least dual running back threat potential. But I don't think I can understand if a team looks at it and says he just hasn't been able to stay healthy. We can't bet on it. He can have all the potential in the world, but we can't rely on it right now. So, also, I've been seeing some cuts. Do you think Bears should get Alex Kappa and Sam Hubbard both cut by the Bengals, but for depth pieces? it's a possibility. I think we need to figure out what we got starting wise first, but I wouldn't be mad at those guys as debt pieces. Per safety is being paid $17.5 million, and they're taking on the. Yeah, I already reported that, Nick. But in this year, his that may be his cap hit overall, but his actual salary is 9.5. It's 17 million next year, and next year's isn't guaranteed. They can actually cut it if it doesn't work out. So I like Ricky OT Armand as well, but are you concerned about his 6'3"? No. If you watch this guy, I wouldn't be concerned about the 6'3" size at all. Not at all. Not remotely. If you watch this guy and his motor and the combination of speed, strength, and technique that he has, I think he can overcome 6'3" size. I'm not really worried about that. We need a good draft, a good free agency, and the most important thing, stay healthy. That's a great way to word it there, brother. That's a very important part of all of this. So we'll see what the future holds, man. But overall, just to recap this, getting Jonah Jackson for a 6th-round pick, I like a whole hell of a lot. I like this a whole hell of a lot. Initially, when I saw it, I was like, but it being a 6th-round pick, and you got to think about it, right? And this is what I love, and this is what Ryan Poles has either done, and this is what you want to do with those later picks. If you can trade that pick and get somebody that's a proven commodity at the NFL level, regardless of how you look at them, it's usually worth it because 6th-round picks don't always turn into anything. Or if you do keep your 6th-round picks, you want to go very high upside, maybe raw players, and hope that you can develop something into them, right? And they did the latter with this. They got a guy who in the NFL, he played 4 games, last year, which, okay, it is what it is. 12 games in 2023, 13 in 2022, 16 in both 2020 and 21. For the most part, he's a healthy player, right? For the most part. And if they feel very confident, and then on top of that, Ben Johnson being somebody that's coached them before, which probably means that he did sit down and talk with Ryan Poles and say, no, I feel confident. If he's healthy, I feel confident in the way that we can use this guy. I think it's a good acquisition by the Chicago Bears, man. I think so, man. Respect to you, Haize, but in my opinion, I don't see much for Roschon. Average speed and agility doesn't help. He's a good running back 3 blocker, goal line guy, but besides that, I think his replacement level back. I mean, listen, everybody's there. I look at everything isn't about when it comes to agility, and I think he's more agile than you're giving him credit for. But Roschon's also a smart runner. He's one of the smartest runners that you'll find at his experience, right? He's very smart. He just can't stay healthy. His ability to be used in the passing game as well. He's a dual threat running back, and he does have power, right? And so that's why I say, as a compliment, like, you want a more elusive back, definitely to pair with him. I don't think Roschon will ever be. I don't see like ever he's your featured back guy, but he can be a guy that can help complement. I think he can be a running back too. I can think he can be a dual threat running back with the right guy. But again, all that doesn't matter because the motherfucker can't stay healthy. So, you can have all the potential in the world, but if you can't stay healthy, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So, and that may be where the Bears are betting on as well. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys are following us at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.